Hello, RPG Limit Break, and welcome to Final Fantasy IV Free Enterprise's Eidolon Express Grand Prix Tournament. We've got Gaming with a Wraith here taking on Infinious in this Mega Flare Rally flag set race. I'm Roddy Sniper alongside Garen here in the booth, Xenocat running the restream, and Beauty and Discovery handling tracking duties for us. And Garen, we're in the Whale Cup, which means that we're in the brackets of this tournament. The stakes are getting higher and higher.
Yes, we're in the first round of the Whale Cup, which is the best of 16 round, if you want to call it that. And it's a single elimination. So whoever wins tonight is on to the round of 8 next week. And whoever does not win is basically it's the end of their tournament. So lots of pressure on both racers to a certain extent. And they've got a Kane hero, it looks like. So that's always a fun time since Kane is a very fast hero to deal with.
Yes, the Mega Flare Rally is one of the more is probably the most challenging of the flag sets here in the Eidolon Express Grand Prix as far as the restrictions it puts on the runners. Two of which are notable being the Sea Hero flag, meaning that our hero Kane will be the governor for the agility here, which can create some problems with a fairly fast character like Kane, and especially since we're only gonna have a max party size of 3.
Yep, and it's also permajoined. So once you make a selection, there's no one doing it, no swapping. So one of the challenges this flag set is who do you take into the party and how long do you wait for your ideal pairing? So, for example, a Kane, a nice pair would be a white mage to help with possibly blinking or berserking, maybe a black mage for AoE purposes. The runners might be hoping for a Cecil or a Fu because those characters can only appear as a starting partner in this flag set with the Kane hero. If they don't show up as soon as we start the seed, you'll never see them. And if those don't show up, then, well, you're trying to figure out who the best of the rest is. It looks like we are off. We give the Darkness Crystal to start out with because it's, oh, there's a DKC partner. So this is a case of I take the Cecil or you leave Cecil for the whole seed.
Yeah, Cecil, you'll have to go through the Mount Ordeals to promote him to Paladin in this flag set, but he's the hero of the vanilla game. He's get great stats, and if nothing else, that cover ability that you can get that he can use can be a great defensive help to get a black mage or even keep a white mage going to allow that Kane to do his job. So yeah, both these runners taking the Cecil, and I like it. We call him the guy, and he's the guy for a reason.
Yep. This does mean there's probably going to be a very early route by Mount Ordeals because that will get Cecil online. Uh, do have the option of going to the moon right away and looting it out and getting some cash. Try and get the spoon, the curse ring, and the adamant armor. If you're taking a Cecil, that adamant armor is going on Cecil almost certainly with a holy sword that you hope will show up on the moon on your first pass if you can. Um, it looks like both runners are choosing to launch the whale, which means we have to go into the moon to loot it out. On this flag set, we are using the vanilla location of all the monster boxes. So the runners probably at this point know which chests are safe to take. And we have unrestricted loot on the moon, so they can be very nice things that'll sell for a lot of cash. Although Kane and Cecil do both wear expensive equipment, limits kind of how much we can sell.
Yeah, you mentioned the selling things. We have a new we're using the alpha of the 5.0 version of the randomizer here in this tournament, and one of the new objective goals that this flag set is showing off is the fact that you can turn in money to one of the scientists, Dr. Tori, in the town of Agart, and be able to complete objectives based on how much money you give them. So the spoon, if you give them 100,000 gold, you get a spoon. 250,000 gold total, you'll get the cursed ring, and 500,000 gold, you get the adamant armor, which is the strongest, most game-breaking piece of equipment in the game. And we get a Palom here.
And that is the wrong twin, essentially, if you're looking for the white mage power. Both runners say
Yeah,
no. That's kind of expected. So now they're going to do the same thing, it looks like, which is loot out the lunar subterrane. Again, there is a lot of chests here. It is the best equipment in the flag set because this is the only place in the game where the loot is unrestricted. Everywhere else on the blue planet, I think it's restricted to max tier 5. I think the blue planet's monster box is also limited to the pro setting, which kind of limits how good they can be. There's going to be no holy swords in Eidolon Castle, which has kind of been a meme in previous flag sets. Not this time around.
Yeah, so these runners are going to be finding, already finding some great some great offensive options here. Defense Sword is one of Kane's strongest weapons and a pretty darn good weapon for Cecil as well. Artemis arrows help take on dragons. So definitely starting, this is the place to go to get not only that early offense and defense, but also to get the money for those other objectives. And on the subject of objectives, we do have 2 other sets of objectives here. The ones you see on your screen that have asterisks behind them. Conquer the Ribbon Room and the Masamune Altar and complete Cave Bahamut. They are a mandatory grouping of objectives. These runners will have to do those 3 objectives in order to get the crystal to go fight Zeromus. The other ones here: trade the Rat Tail, complete the Sealed Cave, bring the Village Survivor to Kaipo, complete the Tower of Zot, liberate Baron Castle, and complete the Giant of Babel. They can do 4 out of those 6, and they will complete that objective group.
Yep, that's one of the new features of Free Enterprise in the alpha. You can do groupings of objectives. This particular flag set has 5 of them. Ribbon, Mesa, and Bahamut are Group A. The next 6 on the list are Group B. Group C is just one that basically gives the Super Smith weapon for the Kane hero upon completion of either Group A or Group B. And when you do the other group of A or B, it gives you the crystal. That's how you get access to your Z. And then the D objectives, you've got some random bosses that'll just give extra experience. And the E objectives are the ones with Tori that will give the spoon, the cursed ring, and the adamant armor. And also bonus experience when those are finished up.
So these runners have done a good chunk of the looting here on the lunar subterrane. There are a few more chests down below here, but it looks like at least Infinious is going to check out the bosses here on our required objectives here, and finding Asura in the Ribbon Room. That's a comeback to that later fight.
Yep, we'll be wanting a rune axe for that, or in failing that, a mute dagger or mute arrows or something like that. One reason to peek these bosses early is free bosses are on, and King Queen Evelyn is the freest of free bosses here on the moon if it shows up.
Yes, and I think these runners start off with some hourglasses, so they could, if they can survive the initial punches from Kaipo guards, the officer soldier fight, or the Baron guards, can maybe get that, maybe grab that objective early as well.
Yeah, we see a little bit of nice stuff from Infinious here in the Zemus zone part: White Spear, Zeus Gauntlets, and Crystal Ring. That is an amazing set of gear for this area. Gaming with Awraith looks like he's going to check the altar. And that's a Pale Dim. That's also come back later.
Yeah, a lot of melee bosses though. So that both these runners taking Cecil is, if nothing else, that cover ability could come into play there, allowing him to take damage for the Kane or future third party member.
Yep, or if we find some Moonveil somewhere in our looting path, that could make any of that free, because with melee bosses, if you have a Moonveil, they're free, even if it might take a little while because the damage is light.
And it does look like Gaming with the Wraith is going to be checking out the Hummingway shop here. Asura Summon, and not much else of note there. Infinious doing a little, wrapping up the looting here. I don't think we saw that check on Gaming with the Wraith side, but
Nope.
Gold apples, good, they sell for a good amount.
Yeah, gold apples, I believe, would get you 20,000 gold if you sell it away, so that's not too bad. Kane and Cecil don't really need hit points on this flag set. They're going to get a lot of hit points regardless. Let's see, we're seeing Game of the Wraith check out Cave Valley or Cave Bahamut. Let's see if there's anything here in these treasure chests.
Yeah, worth pointing out, Game of the Wraith didn't go as deep into the lunar subterrane as Infinious, so didn't get the White Spear, didn't get the Zeus Gauntlets, which are great physical defense, and 10 extra strength, which allows for more attack,
Uh,
more attack
on
chances.
on the other hand, we just saw a Dwarf Axe from Gaming with the Wraith. That is the thing that back rows Kane. It's
Yes.
the only thing that will back row Kane. I have gone whole seeds without seeing one of those, and we find that this is a free boss once Cecil is a paladin. It's a Yang. All you have to do is get Cecil to survive to the second kick, it's queued up, and one strike, and that boss will go down.
Yeah, and should be able to get some experience on these party members and be able to survive that initial onslaught from Yang. And there is a Porum here on Mount Hobbs here on Infinious' screen. Yeah, it is going to take that. There is that white mage you were talking about, Garen, and there is Wyvern, but is just going to cast slow for now.
Yes, well, we have a bow on Forum here. We have a good bow as well, so this might be nice to get rid of this Wyvern. Oop, that's about 1 HP short.
Yeah, but we'll be able to, should be able to get the push through this last little bit here, and there we go.
That was like, what, 10, 20 HP short? It was very close.
Yeah, it was just enough for one turn, but fortunately Infinious getting through before the nukes come out, and also getting an extra 10% experience bonus for completing one of our objective bosses.
Wyvern is apparently one of the, I think, 6 random bosses for tonight. Game with Wraith will also, looks like, take this same Porum. Makes good sense. The nice thing about Porum is faster to get to Berserk, and even though this isn't a thing because you have Cecil, also learns Exit automatically, whereas Rosa doesn't. Downside is it takes Porum a few more levels to become unnerfed Big Bang immune, basically.
Yeah, that and the she gets Cure 4 later than Rosa, so a little bit more grinding required to get her to that top end spell, but still a very, very good white mage pickup. And I can totally understand these runners not wanting to waste too much time holding out for that Rosa that may not be easily available.
This is true. Looks like Infinious is going to Mount Ordeals next, which really makes sense. We'll get that Cecil line getting experience as a paladin as soon as possible. The good news for both runners is you don't have to take Cecil into the mirror room. We can take a Kane into there with the jumping abilities, with the extra stats. It's a little bit of an easier time. And we're seeing there's a Mom Bomb here in the first spot. That's a little annoying. Mom Bomb has an extra 9,000 HP where it shows up. You have to get it down far enough where it will blow up, and then you have to somehow take out all the bombs so they blow up everybody.
Game with the Wraith taking a little bit of a different path, going to the Antlion Cave, which is one of the earlier dungeons in the game. There is a key item check down here, so also doing some extra looting as well, finding some decent charm rods to sell, and a gun gear as well.
Gungnir will be sold because we have better weaponry with that defense sword. And since we have no edge to dart anything with, the weapons you don't need are just going to go bye-bye.
So Phineas making it through the explosion phase of the Mom Bomb and having the Gaia drum that was part of the starting item kit ready to go, taking out the first spot here on Ordeals. Likely gonna go heal up and save here.
Yeah, there's just a couple bosses that'll ruin your day here. Pogo or Leviathan would both be bad news with HP percentage-based attacks. And let's see, the back attack spot is a different element. We've got Kainazo here today.
Yeah, this is going to be a little bit of a spicy one here. I don't know if they've got anything to get rid of the big wave, so probably just going to have to try and push the damage so that it's survivable.
Yeah, unlike a lot of flag sets, this one does not contain any safety or rages, so it's very possible the runners do not have anything that would actually block that.
But Kane using the White Spear as an item as Game of the Wraith gets to the Elements fight here in Antlion Cave and only finding a black shirt for his troubles. So So, but yeah, Infinious using that white spear as a weapon for some solid damage numbers.
Yep, that wave is reasonably safe at this point.
Yeah, the attack being based on Kanatsu's current HP. Current HP is what, 4 to 6%, Garen?
Plus a little modifier, I think, to that. It adds a value, I think, to it as well. This one only has 3,000 HP, so that's why the wave is not doing too much damage. And with the first one getting off before that first wave, it was fine.
We've seen we've seen a number of the bosses, some of our bosses that we get nervous about in the later game already out of the pool. Wyvern, Kanatsu. We do have the Giant of Babel objective. That is a that as we start seeing some of these bosses go out of there, that may become a more attractive objective for those runners because it might be an easier fight.
Yep. Although Gauntlet, as long as it's out there, could still always ruin the Giant as a play. You never know.
We have the alt gauntlet on, which means that instead of the same fight that you would fight in the Fabul defense, as we see the Fabul defense on Game of the Race side, this time replaced with the CPU, it pulls from the local enemy pool. So that can be a very challenging fight. And
this is a little bit annoying.
Say its name and it appears. I believe in the alt gauntlet.
Yep. Now, the annoying thing for Infinious here is there is no real AoE ability on this cane to get through it right now. I know I saw a flame spear over on Game of the Wraith side, which is not going to help completely because the ghosts they absorb fire. Not really worried about Kane dropping here because I think you get a refill after every fight in this room. But it's going to be a little bit slow and just a tad bit annoying.
Yeah, I missed. What was the adjustment that Infinious made on his screen? Was that shuffling the equipment around?
I think that was actually maybe possibly moving Kane to the back row.
Okay, that'll help.
I think Kane was in the front in the first setup.
Okay, that'll help with survivability. He won't take the full damage from those attacks. We'll have to jump to get full to avoid the back row penalty since he doesn't have that dwarf axe that Game of the Wraith had. But should be able to either, like I said, either jump or use that white spear as he's been doing.
Yeah. If there's anything that gives AoE damage here, this is a place to use it. Don't think Fire Sword has the ability. I know Flame Spear would, but that isn't what Infinious has here.
So Infinious will be here for a little while, but we'll be rewarded with a hook as well as a fully powered Cecil as Game of the Wraith gets a pigtail. Not an objective today, but...
Yep. I do want to mention the hook that Infinious got at Mount Ordeals is a bit spicy because that now puts into play the 2 monster boxes on the hook route as possibly having your magma key to get underground. It also opens up the possibility of maybe it's demist at hook 1 or hook 2 that has the magma key behind Rydia's mom from killing the demist. So it opens up just more checks, and oftentimes I found that magma key can be quite hilarious to find on the overworld, especially when the hook's in play. This does offer Infinious the opportunity, though. It's like, we could just say, forget the magma key. Let's just do the hook route. It's not an objective, but if it's not that bad of a boss, maybe that's the way to go forward and just forget the overworld hunt.
Yeah, there's a lot to be said for that, especially with the tools that these runners have gotten so far as defense swords, Gungnir spears, white spears. So I think there's definitely a good chance that they may just say, I'm tired of hunting for the magma key. But yeah, like you said, the K-Miab above flag is on, meaning that overworld monster boxes, as well as the last arm on the Giant of Babel and the what we call colloquially the hairdryer chest in the lunar passage, they can potentially have key items in there or just stronger than average loot.
Yep, and As the usual saying goes, doggo is usually the play where you're going to find the value. Of course, like when you do check doggo, it tends to not be there. When you don't check it, it tends to be there. So, that's random to go to rando on you.
I thought Schrader's thought experiment was a cat, not a flame dog.
Well, we don't want to attack cats in this particular game, so we'll just put a flame dog in there instead.
That's true. The black cats in the Eidolon Castle will counter with the bluster attack, and we don't want to see that. So, Gaming with a Wraith coming up behind Infinious here, taking on this Bomb as well. Having done a few extra checks, so has a little bit more experience on that cane, but will still likely, so we'll be a little bit more insulated against that explosion. But should be able to get through this just the same here.
If Cecil Darkwave it. We got a little more HP than that.
Yeah, the Dark Wave ability is is not very strong at the low levels.
There have been some historical tournament flag sets where with Omnidextrous we can make that go really, really powerful. It was a thing at some point to go to the ghost chests in the Sylph Cave and use Darkwave to get them down one shot.
Nice. Speaking of nice, Infinious is through that alt gauntlet. Does have the hook finally and a promoted Cecil, so we'll be able to make the decision as far as where he wants to go next. Hasn't done yet Lion, hasn't done the Fabul defense like Gaming with the Wraith has, so has a lot of options here.
Yep. Now, one thing is, Game of Thrones should have an easier time in that mirror room because the Cane had a dwarf axe, so is back road. That'll be full damage against those bosses.
Looks like Infinious is going to raise the hovercraft here at the MCN Castle. Maybe making a beeline for that hook route, or just maybe trying to get that taken care of so he doesn't forget, like, I have certainly never done.
Okay, and let's see. I think Game of the Ultimate might say that Gaia Drum could be used to the gauntlet of one of these fights, at least with a lot of monsters on them. Does not have the white spear, so can't use that attack, but has the defense sword. And we are seeing the hovercraft parked right by Eidolon Castle. We'll see if it's to play into the castle first for the 3 kingdom checks that are there, or if it's to play into the actual hook route first. And we're doing the meme with the 10 MP cane. Yes.
If there's anything the free enterprise community loves, it's their memes. We love our memes.
We backroad the Cecil. And Cecil will be wearing a crystal ring and a defense sword and nothing else for the time being. We have nothing else.
Yeah, when we talk about the back row glitch, in the vanilla game, there is a bug in place that if you equips a weapon such as bow and arrow, dwarf axe, boomerangs for edge, it'll turn on the bit that says that you can attack at full strength in the back row. It kind of forgets to turn it off when you unequip those weapons. So it is a flag that Free Enterprise has taken that you can toggle on or off. And in this case, we've left it on so these runners can take advantage of that and use that equipment from the back row to be a little bit safer, which I appreciate because, with 3 party members, sometimes the game's been pretty nice, been pretty generous with what it's given as far as options here, but you don't always have that in this flag set.
Yep, and a little bit unfortunate there on Game of the Wraith side. Cecil used the Kamikaze, which in this spot, if it takes Kainazo down, it does avoid the crumble skip at the end. But unfortunately, not enough damage to actually get it down, and there was a heal just beforehand. It looks like Kane is rolling a lot of low hits here on Kainazo, which is not helping either. With that 300 HP heal coming in. What is going on there? Because Kane was doing higher damage earlier on this.
Yeah, I don't know if he switched the weapon or what, but
Yeah, 246 is not going to do it there.
yeah,
This would be a
this is a
place to burn a J item if there is. We're going to try and kamikaze Kane. That got
there
it
we
down.
go.
Okay.
And yeah, getting the crumble skip as well, so that is always fun. Fun. Infinious has some fun here because he's got the magma key. He got that from the Skull Staleman chest here in Castle Eblin. So does have the entire game at his open to him.
Yep. Now this does raise the question of: do you check those hook route boxes because they can hold key items? There might be a rat tail sitting out there. There might be a Demus down there. There might be nothing down there. You don't know. And it takes quite a
Yeah,
few minutes to actually walk through all of that. Good news is, for trying to get money, Dave Eblin's got quite a bit of stuff to loot out.
yeah, I think, I think that you raise a very good point there because that ability, that ability to get that money is going to be very important. Infinious probably really going to want to get that 500,000 gold total so he can get that adamant armor for Cecil. So I think there's more of an incentive there than even just the key item checks there. Won't be able to collect the character down there at the hook route, but definitely I think will be incentivized to do that. At least walk and loot.
Yeah, reset on Game with Wraith's part. It's actually going to walk out at this point. I guess doesn't feel comfortable with the fire sword as the option there.
Yeah, maybe going to look for some more J items to make this a little bit easier. Maybe try to find like a Blizzard Spear or something that you can use as an AoE item.
I mean, I know it's going to take a little bit, but I mean, just swing with the defense sword is probably going to be faster than whatever is the alternative that's being looked for is.
But is going to be going and taking on these monster boxes and collecting loot here in Eblin Castle, or at least collecting loot in Eblin Castle. I don't want to presume he may want to pass on those monster boxes for the time being.
We do have a free kit of 3 hourglasses with an assassin dagger, so I mean, it is possible if Game of Thrones wants to burn all of those, take all of these boxes. It would solve the problem of getting underground. It would not solve the problem of getting Kane's Lane to take out all of these somewhat annoying. Well, there's a Boreas that would take out one fight.
Meanwhile, Gaming with the Wraith is working on stocking up here to figure out the next step. Infinious going down through Cave Eblin, looting, selling some equipment to buy to get those cash reserves up, and not doing a super thorough loot here. Just kind of going with the chests that are more on the way, trying to avoid spending too much time walking around.
Makes sense. I mean, if the goal is only to get to 250, which is I think the next threshold for getting the cursed ring, might not be trying to push it right now. We'll see. We are going to take the chest here and see what we have in the Staleman chest. Besides 2 Staleman, of course. Arm arrows, this is a weakness of the Staleman. So that'll work. It can put a character to sleep if the agility is bad, but I'll try to avoid that. Stale chest, okay.
Fortunately, Infinious avoiding that with those 2 hits on Cecil, and then Kane finishing off with a nice jump. We'll see what's here, and it's a ribbon. Well, that's good defensive gear for that Osir on the ribbon room.
Yeah, and it can also be used for a Golbez or any sort of nastiness like that. We have a Dr. Luge earning a Sid. 2 mad scientists basically playing with fire. Okay.
And fortunately for Sid, fire beats hammer.
Yes, although airship bomb will beat pretty much anything, even a mountain.
So that Sid will not be joining. Named after Detective Gumshoe from the Ace Attorney games, and at least we won't have to be worried about being his salary being cut here today.
You can only pay him 0 anyways, so looks like Infinious is going to at least check the ad ogre chest down here, which there are 4 of them, and see if there are any. There's a key item that's hiding way down deep here.
Yeah, I think that makes sense. You know, at a minimum, check this and check this and then head back out. Just hope that for the King Queen Evelyn spot here, the first fight that you have to do here on the hook route isn't the D-miss that you talked about earlier. I think that's probably going to be the play here from Infinious.
Yeah, that's certainly possible. Checking the D-miss down here would add probably an extra minute or 2 to the walkout.
Oh, good. Gaming with the Wraith has an Ogre Axe, which also will attack the weakness of those the giant weakness of those Mad Ogres. So that is a very good thing to have. And there's the
Well,
Moonveil.
yeah,
for Infinious.
Moonveil is that's nice. That is basically any fight that is physical only is basically free with that, because it will set a barrier that will never allow the character to melee hit. Um, Unfortunately, that is not a key item or progression though. So if Game of the Wraith manages to avoid this hook route altogether, could make us some time.
Yeah, with the knowledge we have, I feel pretty good about that Moonveil if I'm Infinious, even with the extra time. But yeah, the fastest checks are the one you don't do, and it isn't a key item, so or an objective, so that would probably be a net time save for Gaming with a Wraith, even though it would make one of those moon bosses very easy.
Though we should also point out with melee only bosses, the adamant armor essentially acts almost like a Moonveil if Cecil's got it on.
True. And so runners retracing steps a little bit. Infinious heading down to Antlion Cave, going to find the elements and a black shirt down here. Gaming with a Wraith, going back up to finish off the Mount Ordeals check, get the hook back, and go take out that gauntlet with the equipment that he's found.
All right. Meanwhile, there's some talk in the chat about selling or not selling. I'm kind of lost. So, indeed, money was thrown in there with some of our classic grinds.
Yeah, the Lord Goober, it's Demonet. Demonet. Yeah, so Infinious using a one of the exit items in our starting kit rather than a using the spell that Cecil and Porum both have. And it's one of those things where it's a few thousand gold. It can be annoying and make the difference as far as getting to one of those objective thresholds for Dr. Tori here in Agart. But it's only a couple thousand gold, so it's likely not going to make a difference here.
Yeah, Infinious has reached the 250,000 mark. I will not be able to hit the 500,000 mark right now. That's going to take a bit more looting. I found that typically you have to do between 100 and 120 chests to pretty much reliably get the cash needed. But going underground, certainly looting the Sylph Cave is an option to get a lot of things to sell, along with the Fey merch.
Yeah, there's still plenty of money to be had in this seed, so Infinious should be able to get to that target unless it just rolled very, very unkind.
Well, so far the seed has not been very unkindly rolled. I mean, getting a Cecil to pair with a Kane along with a White Mage right off the bat is very generous from Xenocat rolling the seed tonight. We have seen some real doozies as far as character selections and ways to get the party online, and so far we've not quite seen that yet.
Yeah, so Infinious getting that spoon for 100,000 gold, and then the curse ring for 250,000 gold. The curse ring is going to be a little bit more useful than the spoon with this party. Can't be thrown by Edge, can't be equipped by Edward because we don't have either one in the party. But we'll be able to use that curse ring on Kane to slow him down and try to make some of these faster bosses more manageable.
Yes, although whether you curse Kane or not is kind of up to what Kane has for equipment. Meanwhile, that little plug there for JG Aggert, not necessarily approved because, yeah,
We're still waiting on our sponsorship check from JG Aggart.
we'll see beauty after the race for that.
Yeah, Game of the Wraith is through that gauntlet, does have Cecil promoted, does have the hook. We'll be curious to see where he goes from here. Has taken a somewhat traditional route through the overworld. Has done Antlion, has done Fabul Defense, as we see Water Hag on Infinious' side. I wouldn't be surprised to see him go do Baron Inn. That's one check we haven't seen Infinious do.
Looks like we're going to get.
We're
We're
going
going to go to the moon. Okay. I'm a little bit surprised just because we don't have the money turned in yet for either the spoon or the curse ring or the adamant. That would give a bit more experience for what's coming up here and would also give us a chance to get some power on that Cecil.
Going to go to the hairdryer's chest here in the lunar pathway.
Yep, so the hair dryers, especially if we have Berserk with some decent damage. There's a chance to get life glitches on 3 of these, which would give us a nice boost of experience. I mean, not exactly 100,000, but pretty close.
That's a great point. This is an opportunity for Gaming of the Wraith to really build up this party very quickly as far as experience and levels. And we've got the hourglasses, so should be able to get through this. I don't think he used all of them on the way through Castle Leblin. So yeah, no, this could be a very good way to get the party supercharged. And plus, game check.
Typically, the game will give another hourglass or 2 along the way somewhere. This is the last one I see in the inventory, so Game of the Wraith will hope there's another one somewhere. Did lose Porum temporarily, but the hourglasses will fix that problem.
Yep, using those life potions to get her back up, and very nicely done there. Shouldn't necessarily need it with the back row glitch, but did put the party in the back row to make sure they were safe, and then before going on the offensive, use the change command to put them up in the front row to make sure they did full damage. So that's always a nice little technique to use. If you don't have that ability just yet, you can just hide them in the back row and then change as you need it.
Currently not life glitching at all here, just is letting the melee go melee.
Meanwhile, Infinious is through Dwarf Castle, taking out the Water Hag and Mylon Z, and we'll be getting the Tower Key.
Okay. The Tower Key is not an objective today in itself, but it does offer another check. That's a nice find for Gaming with the Wraith. Again, returning the pan is not an objective necessarily today, but it does offer a check from turning it in, and it also might incentivize doing level 1 check as well.
Yeah, Game of the Wraith heading back to the blue planet. Not gonna continue this lunar excursion. Likely gonna go under. Likely looking at that pan, going, okay.
I was gonna
You want?
rest up here first. Okay. Um, I'm not sure what Game with Wraith's cash situation is, but this would be a very good time to dive the underground and get the loot necessary for the 500,000 to get Cecil into tank mode.
Yeah, meanwhile, Infinious finding a couple of interesting pieces of equipment here on the Walk to the Fey March. Getting a crystal armor for Cecil, which is extremely good defensive gear until he gets that adamant armor. Also sells for a nice chunk of change. And there's the legend sword in the vanilla rat tail chest. Also getting a drain sword, which is another way to slow Kane down, so he can again work to try and make those other bosses a little bit slower. But Infinious just gonna go ahead and sell all those.
Yeah, the Drain Spear is the best idea for Kane in that sense to slow him down with the weaponry. The Game of Thrones is going to take the Baron in. Okay.
Meanwhile, Infinious checking the bosses down here, finding Octomam and Bahamut, and saying, not today.
Now, even though Bahamut is an objective for bonus experience, it is not worth the time to actually take it down to do that.
Yeah, no, 100%. Would be doable, as Gaming with a Wraith getting a less than fortunate Grimoire roll there, but still getting 450 damage off of a Chocobo is a pretty good roll.
Good news here is this spot is very slow, so Ruby is not very fast to act here. And Kane, as we've already mentioned, is super fast relative to some of the other characters in this game. Down goes the Rubicant. And it's just a defense sword. That's more cash. A fair bit of it, actually.
Yeah, and I don't think Gaming with a Wraith has that white spear that Infinious has, so it is a solid weapon on both Kane and Cecil now, at least, so there is that as well.
It does raise the question of where are our key items on this blue planet, because so far I'm not seeing a whole lot of progress towards any of our objectives. And there's also the case of that fated doggo, because none of our racers have checked it yet.
Yeah, the Flame Dog on the way up to in the Tower of Zot on the way up to rescue the hostage. Always looms large because it is available from the start. You know, K-Moon is also on this flag set, so all those lunar altars that we saw at the very beginning of this seed, they could be the answer today.
We have seen some fairly nasty chains in these flag sets before. Gaming with Wraith is going to go underground. Everything gave behind. Yeah, Last Arm is also a chest that's been available since the beginning. Not as free as the doggo, obviously, but I think. I'm not sure if Infinious and Gaming with Wraith want a chance at just yet, but pretty soon. Hey, it's an Ogopogo.
That's
Unfortunately for Infinious, it was not fully healed when this fight was begun.
Yeah, no, starting off with that big wave, those double big waves taking on a quarter and then another quarter of your max HP, definitely puts the runners at an advantage, but does have the offense to get through this. It's just gonna be a matter of keeping that party up, surviving the big hits here, and then being able to just weather the storm. And yeah, Porum did dodge that second wave because the spot here at the top of the tower here is very, very bad at magic. So that can allow for some characters with high magic defense and evasion to just avoid the waves.
Yep, unfortunately, isn't doing to deal with the actual damage that comes out when it lands, but otherwise, yeah, it could be a really nice thing. Now, Game of Wraith is just going down and turning in the pans, not opening any chests on the way down here. We're gonna bonk the Yang. We're hoping for an Avenger. That would be the best thing to see from here.
That would be a big help for Gaming with a Wraith. Being able to auto berserk and get the stat boost, but just a gun here.
I did see a package on Infinious' side. That is an objective from the top of the tower here.
Another consolation prize for Game of the Wraith. A strength ring is always is always a welcome +5 boost to your strength. That's a good chunk of a way to another attack roll. So, not the
Yeah, I
worst
think
thing to find.
every 8 strength adds a multiplier, if I remember right.
That's my understanding as well.
This is going to go for the cannons, since we're here. And it finds Triple Trouble.
Triple trouble, but very, very low HP.
And this is going to be a Chocobo, maybe? Oh, it's going to be a... Oh, that wasn't needed. Well, why couldn't that roll have come somewhere else?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'm sure when Gaming with a Wraith watches this back and sees that Infinious got the Bahamut and you got the Chocobo, is gonna go, huh? That's fun.
Yeah. Anyways, that will get another check for Infinious once the power is exited, and then it leads into a very physics-defying leap onto a moving airship. Not recommended for home viewers.
They're trained. These adventurers are trained professionals.
Actually, the airship assistants are the trained professionals. And Sid, but Sid's not in the party.
So, Game of the Wraith looks like he's getting ready to go back into Dwarf Castle again, kind of tracing Infinious's footsteps here. Does have that pan set up, so when he goes back to the overworld, we'll be able to check that out. Whereas Infinious will have the package you mentioned, and whatever the very skilled pilots here in the airship have.
Oh, apparently they're fixing everything with a white shirt, instead of just a regular old rag.
You know, they were coming by from their laundry run.
How they kept it white with the airship work, I have no idea, but you know, must be some very good bleach up there.
But that'll be nice in that Porum. That'll boost her her willpower stat, which affects the strength of her white magic spells by 15. So that's always a very welcome thing to find for her.
Yep. Although I would say that in this case, I think with the flag set the way it is, I almost prefer a heroine robe over a white shirt, even when you're trying to get the healing, because with 3 characters, it makes the healing just more efficient to begin with. And I prefer the faster white mages over the slower ones.
That is a very good point. The heroine robe giving characters 10 agility?
15 agility at the cost of you lose 15 willpower for it. So the white magic kind of suffers, but I feel like the heal for their characters kind of makes up for a bit of it. Infinious is going to check now for Bull Defense. I'll find that there is a computer virus attacking today. And then we'll get the Sheila 1 check, and we'll see if that's any value. We'll not be able to do Sheila 2 right away, though, because it does not have the pan.
Yeah, that could be the big could be a differentiating factor depending on how quickly Infinious goes and checks that hairdryer chest. But you know, does have Baron in, does have the moon, so we'll see where he goes from there. I could see him going for that check relatively soon here before doing a deep dive of the Lunar Subterranean.
Yeah, I mean, I do understand that the heroine lowers the evasion for Porum, but typically, most seeds I've run, Porum has plenty of HP to survive an unearthed Big Bang, so I don't really worry about it too much. And of course, I get to see where it rolls 2600 HP on me, and that calculation goes out the window. Go figure.
Game with a Wraith through Dwarf Castle. Gonna pick up the tower key here from Luca. Yeah, one thing you may have noticed on these experience calculations here, we mentioned earlier, like completing certain boss objectives for extra experience. These runners are getting bonus multipliers on their experience for every objective that they complete. So you see Infinious already, and they're also getting them for key item checks as well. So Infinious already getting 1.91% for every fight that he's taking. That's going to really allow that experience to scale very quickly without a dedicated grind. And that's, like you said, Garen, that's how you're gonna get your characters that really top end, survive big bang levels. So which mitigates some of the drawbacks of only having 3 party members.
Yeah, now the thing is, in this flag set, the experience goes up to a quad of the normal. And the thing is, we have the 10 key item bonus on, so as soon as the runners get to 10 key items, they will automatically go to just simply, they're going to get 4 times experience on everything. Infinious has 8 key items, from what I'm seeing over here. In the past counts in 4.0 alpha. Game with Raid has 7, and we'll get the rest of it pretty soon. Sheila 1 is just a white spear.
Yeah. Yep. Which will be good for Gaming of the Wraith since he doesn't have one. He doesn't have one of those yet, so that'll give Kane a little bit more offense.
Yes, and of course we could also sell it because I think Kane is one of the few characters who actually gets a good super forge weapon no matter what.
Yeah, I think the weakest weapon he can get is the piggy stick. Which is still pretty strong attack power. It just doesn't have the extra modifiers of the Gigantax or the Abel's Lance.
Yes, if Kane gets an Abel's Lance, we can see some very high damage numbers coming out here. And the adamant armor shifting over to Kane. We just say, you know what, agility, just go away some other day, and we're just going to put the pedal to the metal.
And for those who didn't play the Final Fantasy IV Advanced version, the Super Smith weapons are all weapons from the bonus content in that game, and we've added them in as potential rewards when the Super Smith flag is on. So they can be very, very strong, or they can be very, very, very disappointing.
Yeah, there are some zonks in here for certain characters. I think Cecil and Edge have some of the more disappointing things in the pool. Along with some of the really, really great things in the pool, too. And a lot of the mage weapons are not all that great, especially if we've already found a life staff or a Stardust Rod in their case. I thought the Game of Thrones was going to pull the Sanguinator special, just do the cannon and leave. But then remembered hadn't done the top tower yet, so it's coming back. That's a good thing, since the key item is actually from up here at the top, and not from the cannon.
Yeah, no, very, very fortunate that he changed course and went back for that. So we'll have to get through the Zogopogo, but should be able to. I think has a little bit more experience overall than Infinious, so the big waves are going to hurt because they are based on max HP, but should be able to do a little bit more damage overall.
You're going to get the doggo check almost 50 minutes into the seed.
Yeah, we're kind of running out of things to do on the blue planet. I think this is the last check that Infinious has on the blue planet, as far as a key item check.
Barring a cheeky demist.
Well, there is always that. These runners haven't checked the Mist Cave or the Waterfall for that yet. That's something that some runners like to do in order to try and cover their bases at the expense of a few seconds.
It could also be at the package.
Could be at that package.
Or it could be at one here. Let's see, does Doggo have the goods today? Well, that's another half a forge. That's a key item, but it doesn't actually make any progression.
Yeah, it's kind of, it's not all that common to see here at 50 almost 52 minutes. No objectives yet. Infinious does have the package in hand in order to complete one, and they can always go ahead and head up to the moon and knock out those objectives. But so far, those key items haven't really been coming out in play that they need to light those lights.
Also, we're going to get a pink tail turn-in. Does not play like an objective, but it can possibly give us some equipment. Avengers the Hope. Oh!
Hey!
This is interesting. Both of runners have had that pink tail and that hook for a long, long time. You could have had this
Yeah.
Avenger a long time ago.
Yeah, so not the highest attack stat, but it automatically casts Berserk on the holder, and it gives plus 10 strength and agility, meaning that you are going to have one very angry and one very effective melee attacker. It also takes some of the pressure off of that Porum as far as casting Berserk to get those party members up. You can keep her focused on either healing or using the Blink spell to completely avoid the damage from melee attacks.
I think Coco's hiding a crystal armor on the shelf there. So all the good armor in the game apparently is just a Coco shop. Right, we don't get a check of the shop just yet. Just arty arrows. That's a bit disappointing.
Yeah,
You guys check the
unfortunate.
shop? We are.
Yeah,
There's a crystal ring. There's a ninja hat. Those are good for agility modifications.
yeah, crystal armor probably the biggest prize there, though. Ninja had that mild strength boost and that agility boost. Can't say no to that too. With Kane being
Hey,
a
okay, we got Ogo down. Yay.
Yay. So that will be the package for Game of the Wraith. The nice thing about getting that extra agility boosting gear, Kane is a very fast character. So even with the curse ring, these runners are going to be trying to go for a goal of 2.5 times his agility in order to get the party's agility to a nice consistent turn order and make sure that they go first before the bosses. So every little bit helps, especially on that Cecil.
Yep. Now, Infinious has the adamant armor. Does not have a holy weapon for Cecil just yet. That Avenger can be stuck on Kane for the time being if you don't mind the agility boost. Like I said, it doesn't have the greatest attack power, but what it does have is 10 strength, 10 agility, which gets at least one multiplier and possibly as many as 3, depending on where you are with your stats.
You know, it is a fantastic piece of equipment. Something that if you've got a Kane or a Cecil in your party, you are very happy to see.
Now, we do note that Infinious did not do the package while still on the blue planet. I might be saving that for later. We'll see if Game of Thrones does it first. It shouldn't make too much of a difference unless it has something like that cheeky Demas sitting at the Kaipo Inn, which happens to hold something. Or if there's a Demas sitting somewhere on the blue planet that both races have missed at this point. Yes, agility, some cases, it's just time to say pedal to the metal and
Yeah, no, absolutely. Sometimes just you go full bore, full offense, and don't worry about it. But Infinious looks like going down to the lunar subtrain is going to pass on that hairdryer's chest, as Game of the Wraith is going to go check that package. So if that demist
well,
is
this
there,
is unusual. Rosa is both the victim and the offender.
yeah, the random sprite here in the inside the package, giving us a little bit of a Fight Club vibe, I think.
This also happens to point out, don't make the white mages angry, otherwise they won't heal you.
As someone who used to play heavy in Team Fortress 2, I fully understand that.
Well, you could also possibly have memories of Donald from World of Warcraft 2, possibly, depending on if you played that game. or read the comic, whichever one you want to go with.
So, Infinious...
Well, they might, Beauty. It takes a little while to get there.
Yeah, unfortunately.
They don't believe in offense early.
Infinious taking this Warlock carry chest here to get experience on the party. Also, with the Miab Pro flag on, this is an opportunity for a Excal or a Crystal Sword to really get that Cecil rolling. So we'll get some good experience here to power up for those lunar bosses as well.
see if there's anything good out of this chest. It can hold your holy swords, just as a charm rod in this case. That's a bit unfortunate.
Yeah, leaving that in the chest, one of the things that randomizers add that you may have noticed these runners, we can press the R button to just leave the item there in the chest, as Gaming Wraith will be taking on the Baron Guards here in Kaipo. Good way of keeping your inventory clean, and since Infinious doesn't have any more need for gold at this point, we'll just be able to
nice
we'll
to
be able to
peek on
keep
the
that
first-
inventory clear.
It would be nice to have peeked this on the first trip up to the moon by either runner, because this is free. It was given a whole bunch of experience.
Yeah, Infinious just gonna let the fight play out via the script. We'll have to sit through a few Fire 2s and Fire 1s from the King and Queen of Eidolon, and then they'll just kind of say, okay, we're bored, we're done with this, we're gonna go now.
Meanwhile, at 58 minutes, we have an objective lit on the Game with Wraith side. So Beauty and Discovery finally got to push a button on the objective tracker in the center.
And that is part of the objective pool where the runners will have to complete 4 of 6, and Infinious has the Luca key, so the complete sealed cave from that grouping is also available to him now.
And how much do I bet the sealed cave has something that we need on the blue planet now here?
We've discussed the possibility of an item chain that these runners will have to go through. I do think that, yeah, based on this walk, Infinious is just going to go ahead and clear out the lunar subterrane, try to get the objectives here taken care of, because that'll, with the experience modifiers that we have already, will definitely get his characters to Z levels.
I don't think Infinious peaked the cave value earlier, did he?
Don't
I don't want
recall
the
if that was,
it was
no, it was Game with the Wraith, because Game with the Wraith got that dwarf axe in Cave Bahamut. So yes, you are correct. He did not check that.
Yeah, because otherwise it would have made, I think, a bit more sense to check the cave value first if he knew that was the Cecil there. I'm sorry, the karate that Cecil could just take down with one shot with the free boss thing.
Yeah, no, that would be nice to get that checked off and get that extra little bit of experience going as you start taking these higher value fights, because
well, also because now Infinious is on, actually it's not going to matter because Infinious now should be at 4x. That is 10 key items with the Luca key, so that should be it shouldn't matter anymore.
Oh, perfect then. Game with the Wraith picking up the Avenger from the Pinktail turn-in. Probably also wondering, why didn't I do that earlier?
Well, it would have made that Ogopogo a lot easier if we had that.
But, you know.
It does have the pan. We'll see if the pan chains into anything.
Yeah, that's it. That's going to be interesting. We saw him do that a little while back. He'll get the White Spear first from Sheila 1.
It's an Avenger. Oh, my goodness. You can now actually auto-zerk both of your melee characters at this point, and Quorum can just chill on the sidelines.
Yeah, you know, it's really not a bad outcome, because that does allow for Porum to focus completely on healing, or getting set, or once we get to the Zeromus fight, setting up to be able to cast White to help chip in on the damage. So it's not the worst outcome.
The Holy Swords continue to evade Infinious. That is a glass helm in that chest.
Which would be great on a cover Cecil, because it has a significant amount of physical defense. But unfortunately for the glass hat, Infinious already has the adamant armor, and therefore it's just kind of superfluous.
We're just taking the wrong ones, FBL. I mean, the ones that are probably the good ones are the behemoth ones. Or the Bimmy and Jimmy, or the Bimmy and Bimmy chests. That's where all the power is going to be.
Yeah, but looks like Infinious not really too keen on going too far out of his way to go for those chests, especially since he will be able to take on this Asura, switching away from the Avenger over to a Elven Bow and Artemis arrows, so we'll be able to take advantage of the mage weakness that Asura has, as Game of the Wraith defeats the Flame Dog and gets the Adamant.
Well, Will not
this is
check for
gonna
the Rex Banner special though, with the Demas sitting there.
Yeah, that could be annoying because you talk about chains. Tower of Zot is an objective. It would be very unpleasant for these runners if the Earth Crystal was behind a demist at that particular location where the Maga Sisters are in the vanilla game, and then yeah,
Well,
have to go back and
the worst in the world would be if it is the Earth Crystal behind that it's Zot 1, and then it has something like the Rat Tail, and then there's a Baron key behind that. That would be the worst outcome in the world.
oh, for sure. There are chain. Yeah, the Xena. Yeah, that chain in particular would be very unpleasant. But what wasn't unpleasant for Infinious was those damage numbers on that Astra getting quad 9s, and getting the light
Well,
objective. There is
forget
the
that.
Rat Tail
There's
and another.
the Rat Tail. There's the Rat Tail. So now that means that let's see. As Rat available, does not have package. Do giant, so needs two more things.
That is go for Infinious.
Is it?
Yeah, Infinious did get that package from the top of the tower, just hasn't done it. So just has to complete the ribbon room, the Masamune altar and Cave Bahamut, trade in that Rat Tail, defeat the sealed cave with the Luca key, do the package check, and then go complete the Giant of Babel. So
once again, the seed just happens to be loudly saying, "Do your objectives." The answer was behind the ones we already had to begin with.
Yep, it's one of the oldest adages in the community. Do your freebies, do your objectives, and Infinious being rewarded for just that.
Yes, and it looks like we're going to be zerking Cecil with an Artie situation. So this Eldim is going to melt.
Yeah.
The damage caps are reacting loudly with all the damage they're having to slice off here.
Meanwhile, Gaming with the Wraith taking these Meabs here in Cave Eidolon, likely going to go check the Mad Ogres in the Tower of Babel as well.
Yep, it's not going to find anything here. Unfortunately, we know these are blanks. The only could possibly have any value is if the first boss on the hook route is a demist. But even then, we know it's not really not value at all because we know the location of enough X to complete the game.
Yeah, which is unfortunate for Gaming with the Wraith. Is kind of on the clock here with Infinious being in go mode. Will need to go up and do that Marasme altar, or not the Marasme altar. The Luca Key was in the Rat Tail was in the Ribbon Room. Luca Key was in the Marasme altar. That's right. So we'll need to do those checks. Infinious just getting another Moon Veil from that Pale Dim check. Not really a major concern right now.
Nope. Infinious might be possibly a little bit annoyed to see that this free karate has been here all along. But at least it's going to be a very quick fight for Infinious. And then we'll just move on to hoping that this is going to give a Crystal Sword as a reward because it can't give a key item.
Yeah, even that defense sword is still going to be able to do a large amount of damage to Zeromus, the final boss here. So won't be hurting for damage output, but those crystal swords are those holy swords are a significant increase to that for sure.
We'll also see as soon as this karate is down what the super smith weapon is for Kane. I'm sure Infinious is hoping for an Able Lance. That would be amazing.
So with Cecil being the one with the adamant armor, would you prefer the Able Lance or would you prefer a Gigantaxe? Because Cecil can equip that as well.
Gigantaxe wouldn't be bad for Cecil either. What do we get? Oh, we get something useless there for the altar itself. It's the Able Lance.
So that is a extremely powerful spear for Kane. It's basically a crystal sword equivalent for Kane. So very nice there for Kane there.
I think it does more weaknesses than just holy. It can smash through a lot of things, from what I remember.
Plus, in a pinch, it can cast weak. So we can
I'm not gonna be
do
able to get too much use out of that feature of
no.
it at this point in the seed, but
No, it's one of those. It's one of those things. It's good knowledge to have in your back pocket in case you need to do something silly, like a grind against the machines, the D machines in the Giant of Babel. But I think I saw Cecil at level 57, so I don't think Infinious is going to be too worried about that.
there's still possibly the hope that the giant can be avoided here if something comes up besides that for turning the tail.
Yeah, I think that might be the plan there.
Well, that's certainly not it. Sorry,
but
Chad. And as much as the music track is beloved, I don't think there's any chance either runner is doing that today.
yeah, no, that's it's a fight that would not take Infinious very long to complete, but the problem is that it's a long walk down to the fight, and it is a very long cutscene while we wait for Edward to make his way to his harp, as well as the first stage of the boss with the Dark Elf. So not gonna be a time save there to find anything, even if it is our Baron key.
Let's go do the sealed cave next because this does at least have a chance to give something else to again give her a chance to avoid that giant. Um, or maybe possibly avoid the package depending on which one Infinious would rather not do.
Yeah, yeah, I don't. I would say probably I would if I were if the option were open to me, I think I'd probably do the package because even though it's a lot of cutscenes that you have to sit through and a lot of idle time, you don't need the levels from the giant. They'd be nice to have. So I think it would be it would be a time save overall.
Slight unfortunate thing there with both of the melee characters being zerked here on Game with Wraith's side. So at the ouch because the game treats the zerk as just a fight command, but we didn't get Porum alive for this, unfortunately.
Yeah, losing on that experience. Game of the Wraith hasn't gone to Dr. Tori to get those trade in the cash yet to get the spoon, the curse ring, or that adamant armor.
And unfortunately, with the spoon at least, this would be giving Game with Wraith 10 at this point. It only has 9.
Which,
losing out on that extra bonus.
which, as you point out, is a
Well,
significant.
It's a key item here in the sealed cave, but it's not one that leads to any progression, unfortunately.
Yeah, we can't take any more characters, so.
So amusingly, as often happens in For Enterprise Seeds, we have seen all the key items but 3, and they are the 3 that we probably most wanted to see: the Earth Crystal and the Baron Key that are objectives, and the pass that would make our way getting back to Z a little bit easier.
Yeah, Infinious has a few walks ahead of him. Is going to have to walk out of the sealed cave here, as opposed to using warp on a black mage to cut down some of that travel time, and is going to have to make the Power Walk of Pride all the way down to the lunar subterrane to our final boss, Aromas.
Depending on what's on the giant, there is still a possibility of a pass on giant.
If he checks the last arm chest, yes.
Or if there's a D-miss somewhere on there,
Right.
You might just decide to check it because it might be worth the time save.
Yes. Which makes sense. Which would be a very easy thing to do because the giant leaves you in the blue on the blue planet overworld. So it'd be just a matter of popping over to Mist and talking to Rydia's mother to see what she's holding now that you've defeated her Mist Dragon.
First we burn the village, then we crush it with a whale. You know, For Enterprise just is all these sorts of things in flavor for Mist.
So, hey,
We
that's
decided
nice.
to make a whole bunch of miniatures out of the warlocks and the carries.
Yeah, I like that. You don't see that too often, but I like that.
It does increase the physical damage they're taking, which might save a turn or two here.
Yeah, it doesn't block the warlocks from using their spells, but will
Oh,
We'll also.
they were muted earlier. That's
Oh, they
not
were
a
okay.
problem. And unfortunately, Game of Thrones is gonna find out that these Warlock carry chests just do not have the value today. Starting at the package burn from Infinious.
Yeah, didn't get the Baron Key or the Earth Crystal from those other checks, so is just gonna do the objectives that are in front of them and go from there.
Yeah, well, at a certain point, it's like you have go mode. It's like you don't want to spend a whole bunch of time trying to find an easier path to some of these longer ones. We're just doing what's on the way, and if the way chooses to not cooperate, well, so be it.
Right. Exactly. Plus, the Earth Crystal and the Baron Key aren't exactly difficult checks at this point.
Oops, Infinious has the
Uh-oh.
Avenger on
That's
Vessel
not good.
here. So this White Wizard might actually be defeated before we ever get the Quake off.
Yeah, unfortunately, that Avenger means that the party's taking turns and delaying the White Wizard from summoning the Titan. And unfortunately, can't even use a coffin on that Cecil because the adamant armor blocks that.
Yeah. Luckily, we do finally get the Quake off here on the Titan.
That's good, because that's just one of those things. That's one of those feelings where you're just sitting there going, "Yep, I left that on. Here we go. Any minute now."
Luckily, if you do happen to kill the White Wizard there, whatever the character sprite stand-in is, the game will still cause the Quake and cause Mist to go like this, so we can get the objective completed. It's just there's a lot of HP on that particular thing.
Yeah. Fortunately, it didn't take up too much time for Infinious here, and
Now we know it's not the Golbez, but if you were happen to leave that on its Golbez, you're gonna go through the exact same thing on this fight.
yeah, because it
You're
takes a
gonna
few.
probably about
It takes
10 or
it,
12,
it,
10 or 12 turns of just doing nothing but whiffing.
yeah, it takes a little bit for Golbez to get into his script at the start of the fight. So that Avenger can definitely it can work against you sometimes. You'll see a lot of runners, especially if they haven't seen certain bosses. Um, they'll take a few seconds to unequip that Avenger between fights just so they don't get caught out by that.
Yeah, but no worries here. It's just the Baron guards. That is now 3 out of the 4 that needs to be done, and uh, Infinious is being very nice in terms of order, completing things almost literally in numerical order down the list here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I was gonna break the pattern now because we don't have the 6 or the 7. Yeah, unfortunately, Mini does not block hugging. So they hug your fingernail and you turn to stone. It's kind of a weird reaction there.
But fortunately, the hug went on Kane, our hero, because of the Sea Hero flag. Even if the hero is swoon or stoned, we'll still get the full experience.
Amy is taking the White Spear altar here.
Yeah, didn't go don't think did that Marasme altar check yet, so
Nope, has come down here to the end, and we're gonna leave the Cecil and Kane just zerking things up.
yeah, a little unfortunate not getting that first. We'll potentially be doing the crystal sword altar before heading back up and taking care of the Marasme altar, meaning that that's an extra couple checks that he'll have done while he's trying to catch up to Infinious. But if it's the Earth Crystal or the Baron Key there, or here at the White Spear altar, that is a way to sort of catch up. We'll try to make a little bit of time back here, but Infinious charging up to do his last objective here is gonna need something very nasty to slow him down.
I'm trying to think what could even be here that's nasty. I mean, Golbez takes time, but is otherwise not bad here. Is going to check the last arm just to see.
Dark Knight Cecil, maybe?
Not with the HP on the Cecil. That's
Yeah.
gonna be fine.
seen
Well,
Wyvern.
last arm is down. It is just another,
In case the first two break down.
just a white shirt here at the white spear altar. That's kind of funny. It was a boss objective, but that doesn't really help at this point in time for gaming. Meanwhile, we're going to see who is at the boss spot with the 65,000 HP.
Yeah, Infinious did de-equip the
And
Avenger
it's a
just to make
Baigen.
sure.
The only risk of a Baigen here is that if the center part goes down, the two arms are at max health. They can one-shot anybody here, even with an adamant armor on. We do have an Abel's Lance, however, and I think it's going to be Avengered at this point. So a traitor is going to get traitored by a traitor. This is going to be fun.
Yeah, the reason that Infinious went ahead and equipped the Abel's Lance, had the Able Lance equipped first and then went to the Avenger is because if you equip the Avenger during battle and you don't take an action, the game doesn't replace the stats from the original weapon that you had. So you see Kane doing much more damage than he normally would have with just the Avenger. But you get the benefit of the auto zerk, so something that the runners will definitely like taking advantage of to maximize the value of that Avenger.
We're getting a regrowth of arms. They're not worth very much experience, so that's not really all that helpful. And of course, you see their 2 hits, almost 8,000 HP. Well, okay, Cecil, Kane, hit the center. I'll be here all day.
Yes, the one drawback of Berserk is that sometimes the RNG does not cooperate, and yeah. There we go. Two hits for 10,000 damage. That is nice. The upside about this is that does Baigen get a HP reduction here because of the arms splitting away some of that, or
Nope, it actually gets an HP augmentation. I think that's
okay, yeah, that's right. This spot has shenanigans as far as that. That's right. Because the Magus Sister, that's one of the things that makes the Magus Sister this spot even more challenging than normal is that the center one gets a lot of more HP than she normally would have.
Yep, and we are down to just the last one, which already had a vampire queued, so it's not going to explode. We should be able to get through this very nicely. Yep, 400,000 experience. So, yeah.
Meanwhile, Gaming with a Wraith taking on the Asura here at the Ribbon Room. We'll get the Rat Tail here upon completion. Looks like the wall has dropped on the Asura, but should have enough damage at this point in time that the Cure 4s will not do a full refill, so that will make this fight a little bit easier.
I think once more than 16,000 damage has been done, the Cure 4 will not be able to work. Oh, speaking of DKC, this is totally free. You just have to heal up your Porum, so that Porum can get the experience from here. Just throw a Cure 4 for safety's sake, and we're through.
And unfortunately, Game of the Wraith having to reset out of that Asura fight.
I'm not sure if you realize that the Cure 4 did not actually fully heal Ashura. It's not a mechanic you run into very often, but if Asura is taking more than about 16,000 damage over the multiple of the power 2 is there, the game will glitch it out, and even though it will show you that Cure 4 is going off and there's a healing thing, it isn't actually refilling the HP.
Yeah, like you said, it doesn't often come into play because normally runners are able to get through the damage, but I don't think Game of the Wraith has an Elven Bow handy, or at least not utilizing it to do the large amount of damage, and then again doesn't have the adamant armor to get that extra stats on Cecil, so not being able to match Infinious' damage.
Meanwhile, Infinious has a crystal. We are ready to go to Z. The only thing is we're going to have to walk back to the lunar subterranean because we did not find the pass.
Yep, we'll
And
be
at this
doing.
point, it looks like pass would have to be either on the moon somewhere or somewhere behind one of those blue planet checks we couldn't do, the Earth Crystal, the Baron Key, or the D-Mist that's hiding out wherever it is.
Yeah, like you said, you're in go. You're ready to go. You don't know where it is, so it's faster just to take the 3-minute walk down. Stop off at the save point to
Oh yeah,
do
harp.
a safety save.
We didn't check harp either. That's true.
Yeah. But I think that I would say the harp check is longer is pretty much guaranteed to be longer than the lunar subterranean walk. So, yeah,
And I am
not
kind of
not
surprised, just with as much as the runners were exhausting the blue planet, that neither of them ever checked the Mist Cave or the waterfall to see if there was the D-Mist there.
yeah, like that is a good point because it makes sense. There's incentive to check those early on because those objective bosses, if you get them early, that can help get the experience scaling up a little bit faster. So between the DMIS check and that potential incentive, um, you'll see a lot of runners check that, but both deciding, no, let's just focus on this. Let's avoid the fluff and um, working out well, I think. But the DMIS didn't necessarily have anything, but
It didn't have any required pathing, let's just put it that way. It might have had one or two of the objectives you don't see.
that's true.
Uh, so, I mean, it's always one of those questions of, are you stuck behind a chain that can have to be solved another way?
Very true. The seed providing an alternate path, providing at least one extra path of victory, not through the DMIS.
All
And
right,
there we
Gaming with
go.
Wraith is through the Ashura.
Yeah, dropping the battle speed down, giving a little bit more grace between actions as far as the time that the active time battle system ticks through, giving a little bit more time to menu and do things. So always a good way to make some of these difficult fights a little bit more manageable.
I don't think we ever mentioned it, but we do have the Q fast ROM flag on, which means that the number of frames it's going through for each of the battle speed settings is shorter than it would be under the classic 4.6 or earlier settings of the randomizer. Meanwhile, we see some N's and Z's in chat. I think the N might be flipped around there, Lord Goober. What is that all about there, Rowdy?
Well, we have a final boss in Final Fantasy IV by the name of Zeromus. However, Zeromus is too big, too bad, too difficult to randomize and put anywhere else in the game, but we do want him to get in on the randomizer fun, so he has one of, I think, darn near 1,000 custom sprites that he can choose to cosplay as, and always either thrill or confuse our runners depending on if they're familiar with the sprite or not. So we do have a question to ask, and that is, Garen?
Well, whose butt are we going to kick tonight?
Only 600 sprites according to Zeta Cat, I apologize. So one of 600 butts to kick. Is it cute? Does it pay taxes? Does it wear a hat? Does it even have one to kick? We'll find out
Also,
here in a few seconds.
points out the importance of making sure when you sign a new move contract, there's also a no costume change clause in the contract too. LeChuckmus.
Yes, the ghost pirate LeChuck from the Monkey Island series.
I haven't seen this one before, actually. And that is a very fast shake.
Yeah, this is, we were talking about this a little bit. This is where Fast ROM comes into play. That is not an anchored cane, so is just at regular vanilla, regular agility. So LeChuck is going to go very, very fast here. But this party has a boatload of HP, so we'll be able to survive those big bangs. And yeah, doing tremendous amounts of damage here. That's 10,000 damage between two swings. I think that the only way this would be...
Isn't Kane the one who has the adamant on?
I don't know if Kane had Cecil had the adamant. Kane just has the Abel's Lance, which makes up for the offense.
I think for the numbers that are coming out, I would almost think that Kane has it on.
It's a possibility he swapped it when we were looking at Game of the Wraith, but either way, LeChuck is the only way that this fight will go faster is if Infinious had some anti-root beer to use on him. So getting the Cure 4 here on the party just for safety. The black hole won't matter. Black hole usually takes away status effects like Berserk and the Star Veil. Won't matter because the Avengers automatically reapply the Berserk status. And there we go. We're in Rocks. The final phase of Zeromus as Game of the Wraith takes on the Pale Dim and gets the Abel's Lance as well as that Moon Veil.
Unfortunately, it'll be just a little bit too late because this should be GG for Infinious right after this last bit of rocks goes, and we have one more attack. And there's the crack in the boom, so GG to Infinious. We'll be moving on to the round of 8. And I believe this coming week we'll be facing off against, let me see, we'll be facing off against Noob Tree. And we will be seeing a Tsunami Open for that next week. The first time we've seen that in the Whale Cup, I think. So GG to Infinious. Get those GGs in the chat, please. We'll see if Infinious is available for an interview. Not required, so we'll see what Infinious' pleasure is today.
Yeah, that was an excellently run seed by Infinious. And here is the winner of our race here tonight, Infinious. GG.
GG's. That felt good. Relatively speaking,
it looked good. You look to be pretty well confident and in control of that flag set that seed tonight.
Yeah, let's just say I 1 for 2 remembering to taking off the Avenger at least. Forgot to take it off before doing package, but then remembered after doing Giant 1 because I knew DKC was out there somewhere. And I didn't want to have to mess with that. And lo and behold, DKC at CPU was there, so felt pretty good about that.
Yeah, it looked like for the most part, I mean, I think that the sea was pretty smooth. The only place that was a little bit rough was just that solo gauntlet without any real AoE to get those things down.
I mean, could I have taken it the first attempt? Sure, but like, because I was front row, because I was in the front row, I wasn't 100% confident that he would be able to survive the entire combat. So I figured just better to just reset there and just put in the back row because he'll do plenty, with especially by using White Spear. That'll do a lot against most of those enemies anyway.
Yeah, I think at that time you hadn't found the Dwarf Axe yet. I know it was early on in the value, but you hadn't gone there yet.
Oh, I hadn't. I at no point did I have. That was the other big thing for me. Is I had no Dwarf Axe for an entire seat. I never found one.
Okay. Yeah, it was in one of the 4 boxes of the K value.
Yeah, I wasn't opening those.
Yeah, Game of the Wraith had it most of the seed, but did not have the White Spear because they hadn't looted it.
Yeah, because that White Spear was super buried in Lunar Core. So yeah, that makes sense. Oh, it was a Twin Hub to Earth. Okay, so that was one of my concerns about having sworn out that Alt Gauntlet was, did Gaming with Wraith take that Cecil as well? Because that would, I think you just have to and just suck up on whatever's on doing metal deals, regardless of what's there. So that was an interesting choice. But yeah, I think the character choices were pretty straightforward. Like once you see from the opening, from the characters, the naming menu that there's a Cecil in the seed, you're pretty much committed to going, basically vanilla starting party and then find your white mage and go at that point.
And luckily the white mage was not buried today. It was right there on Mount Hobbs for you. You got the white mage immediately because Rosa was kind of buried, as it turned out.
Yes. I mean, yeah, just had to get the package, which actually package wasn't too bad, wasn't it? It was
No, it wasn't. I think it was
Dwarf.
Top of tower behind that Ogopogo.
Oh, okay, yeah. So that would have been awful if you try to hold up for that. So yeah, okay, that's effectively buried then. That's not happening. That's not happening anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm still looking to see what that Baron key was. But that's the other thing we're missing in the knowledge of the flag.
Yeah. Oh, if it's here. Oh, it was in Oh, okay. Okay. I'm just also watching the spoiler as you go along. It's because that's an interesting point as well. Because like, I knew D-Mist was out there. There was also a D-Mist hunt that I haven't found, and I think the way I'd done things, I kind of committed to not. I figured that I just can't afford to do to try to check for D-Mist at Mist Cave / Waterfall. I didn't have that much. I felt I had some time, I didn't have that much time.
Mm-hmm.
Also, shout out to crystal rings being for sale in the Forge shop. That was kind of nice.
Yeah, there was a nice bit of defensive gear there, and also speeding up the characters who are not as fast as that Kane.
Yeah, I mean, it was interesting because like coming into that, I did think that up until I got that Abel's Lance, I was like, okay, so my plan is probably to I don't know, I'll just do whatever with Kane, and I don't know, it'll just be power couple strats because that's what I tend to believe works. But then when Abel's Lance changes that, oh my, it was a demon hunt for that Baron key. Well, I'll be. Yes, but
well, the good news is Baron key didn't lead to anything else, so it wasn't that bad of
yeah. But I guess if it's at Zot 2, then that means that Earth Crystal is that means that hook, Pick Rat Tail to Luca to Twin Heart to Zot to Baron key might have been a thing. So
yeah, we'll we might see later on if Gaming with Wraith decides to check it. Still going through a few things at the end of the seed here.
Okay, I guess we'll find out potentially. What was I trying to say? Abel's Lance is such a game changer because the upgrade between Defense Sword and Abel's Lance, is so huge that yes, I could have given him the add-on arm, but I kind of wanted to make Cecil and all that stuff do some damage as well. So I think it was fine to just leave the add-on armor on him, even though I never found a stick. That was
no one found any.
Yeah, so far those are unaccounted for.
I tried. I opened so many. Like I opened both little carry chests just to see if I hit on that.
I think I made the joke that it was going to be either the Bimmy and Jimmy or Bimmy and Bimmy or one of the behemoths.
Yeah, probably. But to be fair, I could have done them, but like with crystal rings and armor, like there wasn't as if like well, I guess I think I had Dragoon Shield on Kane as well. It wasn't like they were going to do anything to me at all. But I didn't want to. I just figured I'd just do what's comfy, really.
I mean, you didn't need it, is what it came down to.
Yeah.
Especially when
the end of the day
shows up.
Yes, once Abel's Lance shows up, okay. I mean, the other thing that those things gave me was a whole metric ton of levels, because I don't know about you, but seeing Pawn with 2,800 hit points is a lot of hit points.
It's a very safe number of hit points. Yes, it's glorious.
Yes. I mean, yes, they give her an apple to get her there, sure, but like still, 28. That's still a lot. But more importantly, Kane had 10 MP. That's the important bit.
It was pointed out repeatedly in the chat, so good job.
Look, I'm here to entertain, if nothing else.
I think the audience was entertained tonight for sure with the fun things we saw there. At least I hope they were.
Yeah, I hope so too.
All right, so on to next week, Infinious. You're facing
Noob Tree, I believe.
Noob Tree, yes, and I think it's going to be a Tsunami seed based on the hands you both have in place.
Yes.
So definitely good luck with that, and be a nice change of pace. We haven't seen Tsunami at all this week in the Whale Cup, just because how things rolled out.
It's gonna be. I think this is gonna be the one where fast, like. I really need to practice because of fast run, because having to do those the underground boxes is going to be a pain in the backside with fast run on. So may have to come up with strategies for that, I believe.
You might go down to BS2 or BS3. It might be a thing.
I mean, to be fair, my habit for clearing boxes, because I am very bad at random buffering, and I'm lazy. I just go and balance speed free anyway for those boxes anyway, so it's not going to be that much of a change for me if it's free. But if it ends up being 4, that's a bit different.
You could also hope that for once, Sylph Cave is not actually required.
No, I mean, I think, let's be fair, the odds of I just feel like you should always be clearing Sylph when it comes to it anyway. It's just in Tsunami Open, it's just too valuable with all the with the pass being chance for pass being there, unweighted. There's 7 checks. I think there's too much. And also, you know that Magma Key has to be underground too, so those checks are even more emphasized. Yeah, I just don't see that being a thing.
Yeah, I mean, the odds that it's going to zonk out completely are kind of low. I mean, it's already more than 40% chance that it has one of your passes. The odds that it has no key item that actually gives you anything you need towards the objectives is kind of low.
Yeah,
but of course, as we've all seen, strange things have happened with these
that's true.
item distributions.
Yes, I mean, there is the famous required demist at Giant 2 in Mega Flare, right? Like,
yeah, we've seen that.
Actually, in the last race of groups, I had a quintuple required top keyless tower.
Okay, that sounds interesting for sure.
Talk about your chain.
Yes.
Talk about your chains.
Yes, it was a heck of a chain. It was. It was not correct for me to turn rat. I mean, I turned rat just out of curiosity more than anything else. I mean, to find it was in fact the last part of that chain of my 6 objectives. So you know, oh well, that was a fun one.
Yeah, Mega Flare I think has produced some of the more interesting and new ways of doing pain. Just so we have a party 3, and it can lead to so many more interesting things.
Yeah, pie size. Yeah, like I just, for what's worth, I think for Mega Flare, I just always feel like taking Rydia and or Palamir's bait. I don't see why we ever, unless you're super desperate, I would never take them. So
I've taken Palam before. I don't mind him too much if it's the right party.
yeah, I just feel like to me, this just feels like a Berserker flag set. Like, even though you think that max pie size 3 makes it awkward, no, I think as long as you're able to find a weight mage, you're probably fine.
Yeah, I would say most of the time I prefer Zerkers, but it's like there's a case. It's sometimes it's like if the Zerkers are all buried, it's like I was held out for Edward, and it's like, well, I have Giant and Zot left. I don't have access to Zot, so it's like, do you really want to do this? It's like,
Also, I think Giant didn't give a character that just then either.
No,
So you know.
No, it doesn't. I don't know what the other check was, but
Oh yeah.
yeah, it was one of those things where it's like I have Zot and I have one other place left, and it's like I still have an Edward. Sometimes I've held out for a white mage, and it's like, well, it's an hour into the seed, I don't have a white mage yet. I still have a 2-person party, and it's like at that point you're just wasting time because you can't get a what's the word I'm looking for in there?
The levels.
Slingshot.
The
slingshot with the levels.
Yeah.
So it's
Sure. Yeah. I think once you get up to 4 times, it's not too bad to get them back up again. No, especially if it's Rosa, because she doesn't need that many hit points. As long as you get it to like 2,000, you're probably fine. So you can probably open some boxes to get there. But you know, neither here nor there, I guess.
Yep. All right. So as far as the flag sets are concerned, is Mega Flare your favorite, or is it a different one?
I actually find Mega Flare really interesting. Because it just offers a whole bunch of challenges like you're not used to in normal tournament flag sets. Like the fact that it's max pie size 3, so you have to be hyper efficient with your characters. You have to there are some really awkward fights that you have to try to solve, especially early. Especially like character choices actually matter amount to a great deal because if you, like I said, because it's permajoint and buy, like if you take, let's say, a Rydia and then and you're running in your part, and your hero is like a Palom, then at that point you're left with either you have to work out how you're going to solve let's say, a potential Ogopogo or Valvalis at a really rude spot. You have to, there's lots of choices. And it's not necessarily like in my current case, because I overgrinded, like essentially, most of the times rare fights aren't necessarily solved either. So I think it's
HP can solve a lot of problems.
yes, I think it just poses a whole bunch of new and interesting questions that I'm not used to.
At the very least, you end up with one of the Mega First seeds where it's like we had nobody finish under 2 hours. We've seen some of those.
Yeah.
Speaking of
Yes.
challenges.
Yes. Yeah.
All right. Rowdy, anything else you want to add before we
No, I think that appreciate Infinious giving a very in-depth outline for a thought process here on RPG Limit Break for any new runners interested in learning the thought process as they race. Very, very appreciative of that. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. Always happy to talk about, talk shop, as it were.
Well, again, GG's. We look forward to seeing you next week, and best of luck in your race against Noob Tree.
Thank you. Thanks to both of you for doing comms. Thank you for being Discovery for tracking, and thank you for restreaming this fine race. And I'll catch you all next week, hopefully.
Yeah, GG Infinious. Excellent job.
And also, shout out to RPG Limit Break for hosting us tonight and allowing us to showcase the flag set. Meanwhile, as Beauty is mentioning in the chat, we do get randomized music here with DJ Spoonie B, which means that we're going to get bonked in the head with Pam if we don't shut up before the music starts. So enjoy the music all. Unfortunately, that music was cut a little bit short by...
Yeah, not much time with that Earthbound shop music, but there is the Earth Crystal for Gaming with a Wraith. Gaming with a Wraith has been working on getting these objectives and is now in go mode. We'll be able to complete the Tower of Zot here.
And it should be noted, the reason that Gaming with a Wraith had to go and do this is did not do the Murasame altar, did not have the Luca key, so therefore does not have the Steel Cave as a possibility. They had to find something else and has found it here. We still have no idea where this Demus was located, actually, come to think of it, and we were kind of running out of places where it could even have been.
I was gonna say, I think the only boss spots we have yet to see are, other than the one, or the ones here on Zot, the Baron Throne, the Baron Basement Throne, and those the King Queen Evelyn spot in the Hook, and then the Mist Cave and the Waterfall.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of spaces left. We'll see if the reveal here will give it to us. It might.
By the way, I do want to thank FF6 Worlds Collide for raiding in during Infinious's interview. Thank you all for coming and joining us here on RPG Limit Break. It was fun heading over to your channel yesterday and doing a showcase there. Worlds Collide also did a showcase on our home channel, twitch.tv/free enterprise, showing off their Moogle Cup flag set, and there's the D-Mist.
Yep, so it looks like we had the Rex Banner special available to us all along. Not for underground access, but at least for the Baron key. It's always funny when D-Mist happens to be here and it actually is holding something. And once again, Kane is just simply murdering things at this point due to anger over having to still be playing the seed an hour and 47 minutes in.
Yeah, you know, not if gaming checks that, not going to be too happy to see that Baron key with that knowledge, but very defensible for both these runners to not take the time to go and check there, because it is a fairly long walk for a possibility. So, you know, as you saw with Infinious, just kind of keeping his head down and doing objectives. You can gamble on those things, but they're not necessarily gonna pay off. So going with the sure thing.
And even so, it's like the Baron key, it's like that is not exactly a quick check. Like you have to go through a couple cutscenes, you have to go through 2 bosses to actually complete it.
Plus the fact that you can't exit out of there if you do if you're in a situation where you just have to do the basement as opposed to our objective liberate the castle, you have to walk all the way back out, or you have to finish the liberation and do through the cutscenes anyway, because exit doesn't work in the castle. So you know, it finds a couple ways to be a bit of a pain.
Yeah, and then of course there's also the risk of if you go to the basement first without doing the liberation, if that boss happens to be rude, you might end up having to redo the whole walk anyways.
Yeah. So
As it is, Game with Wraith is going to get the Tower of Zot clicked off, is going to get the crystal, and is going to be able to go to Z. Is going to have to again walk through the LST because we still have not found a pass.
but yeah, I mean, Game of the Wraith really kind of getting a little bit more by.
Oh, actually, there is the pass. I forgot. That's where it came from.
That's right. So we'll be able to avoid that walk and go right to the Zeroma's fight by going through the pass room in the Toroya pub. Game of Wraith did play the seed well. You know, probably just a little bit behind Infinious on a lot of the checks, and unfortunately skipping the Marasme altar did keep him from being in go mode a little bit sooner, and so he had to do the Crystal Sword and the White Spear altar, so adding a little bit of time there as well.
It is unfortunate. Did have the early pan, but unfortunately the pan did not end up paying off in the way you might have hoped. That is a bit of just the way Rando is going to Rando sometimes. And meanwhile, excuse me. I think the only problem I think any brother really had was just that gauntlet and trying to get through it a little bit early on, because Kanan really had no AoE ability to knock down all those bosses. You know, the Game of Wraith took a little bit of time to get powered up.
Yeah, I mean, you know, it wasn't necessarily you know, it didn't set the entire seed in stone, but Infinious doing a little bit deeper dive into that lunar subterrane and getting that White Spear for that earlier extra power, giving him a little bit more confidence walking into that gauntlet, as opposed to Game of the Wraith, who looked at the inventory and said, I think I'm gonna go want to get try to find some other things to make this faster.
Well,
I
not
think,
only that, but if you remember the Zeus Gauntlet and the Crystal Ring, either one of
yeah,
those is
that
excellent
too.
defensive gear. And even just with all the times that Porum was down in Game with Wraith's side because the monsters were hitting too heavily, it's like that Crystal Ring would have solved a lot of problems with Porum going down all the time.
Plus, Gaming with the Wraith did not, I don't think, ever went back to Agart just to cash in the gold and get the adamant or the adamant, which, you know, it's not
Oh,
required.
right. It
It's,
isn't
you know,
required, and yeah, I think overall it's like it does give you less experience in the beginning, and it does kind of hurt with like your characters aren't quite as strong.
So, you know, some things here and there that that Infinious did that Game of the Wraith chose not to do, that, you know, just added up over time, and did make the difference here. But Game of the Wraith, a long time runner, took a bit of a hiatus from racing in these tournaments, and has had a heck of a showing here, making it to the brackets after a several year break. So very nice to see them back and doing phenomenally well.
Yeah, both Game of the Wraith and Infinious have been part of the Enterprise community for a number of years. I'm pretty sure they've both been around since longer than I've been around, and I've been there since about 2020. So, yeah, definitely veterans of the community, and it's great to see them racing here, and giving us a good show tonight. Do follow our runners if you enjoyed the show. Game of the Wraith and Infinious. I think their channels have been put in the chat somewhere.
I guess that.
FBL, we did find out from Infinious that Kane did also not have the adamant. That Abel's Lance just does a walloping as far as it goes. And with Kane having that many levels and all the agility and strength, I think that that's what's causing it.
Yeah, even with those Zeus gauntlets that we saw earlier, that the extra 10 strength as well could go a long way in helping with that too. No, he didn't get the Zeus gauntlets. Never mind.
Yeah, and, from the trackers, we don't see the spoon lit up on Game of the Wraith side, which means you can't have the other stuff with it either.
Yep. Game of the Wraith taking some time to heal up here after the black hole. You see they're not having swapped onto the Avengers, so that isn't being automatically reapplied, but should be able to survive this big bang here and keep going here.
No, as far as I remember, Beauty Game of the Wraith never visited Corey, which is fair. I mean, I think when I first saw these flags, I didn't really think that racers were going to go for the adamant armor as often as they have. And that became quickly apparent. It's like, no, you probably, on balance, really want to do that more often than not.
Yeah, I mean,
you have to wait
500,000 gold is a lot of gold to get.
It is, but it's amazing how fast it actually comes up. I mean, you only have to really loot about maybe an extra 30, 40 boxes over a standard seed to get there.
No, and that's fair. It is one of those things though where once you start getting to the point of maybe feeling behind, it's like, okay, is this extra time worth it? Usually an adamant armor is, because of just how powerful it is. The 15 boost to every stat in the game, 100 physical defense, and I think 30 magic defense. Just absolutely ridiculous piece of equipment. But once that timer starts ticking, you may just be going, we gotta go.
Yeah, we're having a slight technical problem here, it looks like, on Game of the Wraith side. If we can get that back.
The Ghost Pirate LeChuck resorting to some very nefarious tricks here to try to survive against Game of the Wraith here.
There have certainly been some races where I thought my only chance of victory was that the power goes on the other side, so I'm not gonna blame that strategy too much.
Yeah, no, I fully commiserate there. So we'll see if we can get Game of the Wraith stream back here. There we go.
It looks like Z has fallen in the meantime.
So
but we'll see if we can sort that out on the technical side in the meantime here. But GG's to Game of the Wraith.
Yes.
We'll see if there's an interview available. Before we get that, let me see here. I want to advertise the races we got tomorrow night. We do have a race between Curios and myself scheduled for 8 p.m. tomorrow. Not sure where it's going to be at or if it's going to be restreamed at all. But that is the only race on the schedule so far at this point for Free Enterprise.
And we would also like to take the time here to promote a upcoming event here on RPG Limit Break tomorrow at noon Eastern. It is the Good Luck or Blame Ever Hate Soul Blazer run here. A long-standing tradition here on RPG Limit Break. So we definitely want to make sure you definitely make sure to check that out. I think that's a 10-year long event in memorial of Everhate. So definitely make sure to check that out tomorrow at noon Eastern here on RPG Limit Break as well. And our restreamer Zenitcat is telling us that it's your race tomorrow will be restreamed. So.
Okay, so if you have enjoyed or disliked me at all on this one, feel free to see the race and see if I can do a pitfall, which is probably going to happen. Meanwhile, we've got Gaming with Wraith here. GG.
GG.
GG. That was a litany of failures from the very beginning, and it just compounded.
Are you referring to taking the Cecil or something else?
Cecil.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the dumbest bleeping move I could have done. But as soon as I took him, I'm like, and I got to Ordeals, and I saw Gauntlet, I'm like, well, I'm boned. Like, I don't know what else to say.
Well, I mean, if there's a holy stick in the seed, I mean, it would have made Cecil a much better choice. Yeah, you had the Dwarf X on Kane to back row. I mean, it's a case of you have to actually go through and individually smack all of them because you don't really have any AoE items to get through it.
Yeah. So it was it was like that second I was just like, oh no, I'm way behind now. Like, I'm like, immediately I'm like, I should have took Palin. So.
Well, I mean, as it turns out, I mean, Infinious also took the Cecil and also went through the same pain in terms of that gauntlet just being a bear.
Yeah.
The main difference was, I think, Infinious had found the Zeus gauntlets and the Crystal Ring, which were excellent defensive gear for that gauntlet, and I don't think you would have seen those.
Nope, I didn't catch those at all.
Yeah, unfortunately, they were in the actual Z zone, a little bit below the Plaza altar.
Gotcha.
And yeah, obviously Cecil would be a much nicer choice if there had been any Holy Sword anywhere in the seed. We never saw one for either of you. No Crystal Swords, no Excals, which is always a little bit annoying. Not even a Light Sword.
No, I'm like, I got a defense sword, and then eventually I got like 6 Avengers by the end of the thing. So I'm like, okay, I guess I got an Avenger. Well, that's awesome. I mean, it let me do the Avenger swap on Kane in the end, but it was, like I said, at that point I was just like, I'm like, I feel like I'm behind, and then I just compounded being behind by just making stupid little mistakes every second I could. So, what can you do?
I mean, to a certain extent, I mean, yeah, one thing starts going bad and it can sometimes snowball a little bit like that. He still played a very good seed overall. It's just that some of the choices he made just were unfortunately not the right ones.
Yeah.
I mean, the only thing you skipped on the moon was one you really couldn't skip, which was Mirror Altar, which I think not only was that a freebie, which was the King Queen Evelyn, but also had the Luca key.
Of course. Okay. Yeah. So that would do it. I mean, then I wouldn't have passed. I would have had to have run. I could have skipped Babel though, at least then. So that would have been nice. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the thing is, neither you or Infinious took it on the first pass, but it's like if either of you had peeked that altar when you're first up there, huge amount of experience, makes the blue planet so much quicker to get through.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's like, I can understand why you wouldn't necessarily peek Mirror. It's like, it's not an objective. It's a couple minutes out of the way to do it. And the odds are about 95% you're resetting.
Yeah. I mean, I should have, but I'm like, man, I don't like that. It feels like weird to you go down, and then you're like, okay, I have to sit through the animations again. And knowing that I'm going to go all the way to the bottom and check all the bosses there, I'm just like, man, I don't want to go through the animations again. So I was just like, not going to do it. Of course, I get punished for it the one time I don't.
Yeah, fair. I mean, if I knew every time I needed to check the altars versus skipping them, that'd be great. But unfortunately, it's like I sometimes do the same thing where it's like, you skip them, and then you should have checked them, and then you check them, and you should have skipped them. What are you gonna do?
Yeah. So. It was a fun race overall. I mean, I'm not like mad. I did the best I could with what I had. I wish I could have done a little bit better for like I said, some of the little things that could have made things a little quicker, like dumb little mistakes, like the Azura thing that I did where I had to reset because I'm like, I didn't give myself enough time, and I'm like, why didn't I just? As soon as I started it, I'm like, why didn't I just start and then just have Porum do the walls? So it's
Well,
like, okay, that's a little reset.
I should point out there was a little glitch with Ashura. Ashura's taken over 16,000 damage and some change. The Cure 4 won't actually cure for her.
Yeah.
I think it's, let me see, I'm just running through the numbers. 16,384, I think, is the cutoff there. At that point, it's like, yeah, you'll see the Cure 4 go off, you'll see the green numbers, but she hasn't actually healed, and you'll be fine.
So, okay, well, I learned again. I mean, I have forgotten since, honestly, to start this tournament, I literally picked this back up. I haven't played since like 2020, 2021. I picked it up the night before Sign-Ups ended, so I'm just shocked I even could remember half the things that I could do. So
well, we definitely appreciate that you gave it another go, and we hope you've enjoyed the updates to the randomizer since back in the day, because I mean, back in the day it was a bit more simple in terms of the flag structures, so we hope you enjoyed what we came up with.
Yeah, no, it was a lot of fun. I surprisingly, to start with, I thought I would hate Mega Flare, and then it became my favorite flag set, so.
Yeah, I thought I would dislike it a lot more myself, and this is probably one of my favorites too. So, you have any thoughts on the flag sets in general that you'd like to share, other than this being the favorite?
Honestly, like, all the flag sets are alright. I'm personally not a fan of Zantetsuken. It feels a little bit slot machine to me. In the beginning. Not that not saying that I don't mind like the point structure with the dark matters and stuff. It's just I don't really like when I don't like the random stuff as much. Like super random, I guess is a good way to put it. Like I like to have the game flow personally, but other than that, like the hook for Tsunami is alright. Hook is interesting usually. So
we have seen some epic hook encounters for sure over the years for Enterprise Racing, that's for sure. Yeah, D machine grinds. We tried to minimize the grinding aspect of the game here because I don't think anybody particularly enjoys the grinding aspect of the game, so we tried to minimize it.
That's the worst part, honestly.
Yeah, and of course, all these now group objectives and the ability to just give the key items or give certain things for objectives. Like, we don't like adamants, they break the game. Okay, we can just make it as like it's a bonus reward. You've got a way to get it, but we'll give you one. It's like it's there to everybody. It's not just some sort of random. It's like, well, you picked the right monster box that happened to have the adamant on a whim, and it's like, there you go.
Yeah, I didn't even check it. I had both, but at that point, I'm just like, at that point, I'm like, I'm behind. I'm not going back down there until I got the Luca key. Never saw it, so never went back down. Don't know what it was.
Yeah, the Luca key was at the Mura altar, but I know that, for example, Infinious did turn in the Tokori a couple times there for the 3 objectives there. It gives you a little bit of bonus experience. At one point, it did affect your game because you had 9 key items, you had 10 if you had the spoon, so it doubled the experience roughly.
Yeah,
but I can understand. I thought
it was pretty close at that point though to the quad, the max out. So I wasn't counting the best at that point. I probably wasn't quite there, but I think I was close.
Once you hit the 10th key item, once you hit the 10th key item, you're there. That's going to happen almost every time, just the way the flag set's designed. But I know that when we first designed this, I thought to myself, I'm never going to turn this adamant. Why would I do that? And now it's like, most seeds I'm going to turn in the adamant, just because I like the bonus that it gives, and usually it's like, I like the power that adamant gives. It's kind of broken.
Yeah, no, it's a great item. I just, like I said, and then eventually I got to the point where I'm like, I don't want to loot anything else. Like, I felt like my gear was okay. So at that point, I didn't think I had enough on me to hit the 500k either. So that's why I didn't go there. Probably would have had it from boss skill. I didn't even look at my number, to be honest with you.
Okay. I mean, my experience is usually about 100 to 120 chests is enough to get the adamant from what you loot, and what you decide to keep when you decide to sell.
Yeah.
It varies seed to seed. Some seeds are rough. Some seeds are just dripping with money. It depends.
Yep.
Rowdy, I've been kind of dominating this a little bit. Do you want to step in with anything?
Oh no, it's fine. You've been between you and gaming. You guys have definitely. It's been an excellent conversation to listen to. I think you've hit all the notes that I wanted to hit. So I just want to say, gaming, very nicely done. Getting to the brackets here in the Whale Cup on the Eidolon Express Grand Prix. Coming back after the hiatus. Very nicely done. Very nicely played.
Like I said, thank you. I appreciate it. I had a lot of fun. I mean, that's why I came back. I like doing this type of thing. So probably you'll see me again whenever something else comes up in the future.
Yeah, if another tournament, or if you want to join us for a club season or two. I mean, there's clubs that will be starting up after we're done with this, I'm sure.
Yep.
Looking forward to seeing more of you.
Yeah, definitely. Thank GG again. Thanks for volunteering. We appreciate it.
Yep. GG. Thank you, guys.
All right. Well, that's going to do it for us tonight with the broadcast. Once again, thanks to RPG Limit Break for hosting for Enterprise, allowing us to showcase off our tournament flag set. I'm going to give a shout out again to Xenocat for rolling the seed and doing the restreaming and also fixing the little glitches we had there at the end. View Discovery for pushing all the buttons and not eating them. If you want to know what that's all about, you can join the For Enterprise Discord and learn about the memes, the game, and ask any questions. We're always happy to see new people. Give a runners a follow if you enjoyed it. Game with the Wraith and Infinious, and also the people in the booth. Thanks again, Rowdy, for joining me in the comms booth. We always appreciate it.
Oh yeah, always enjoy working with you, Garen.
And yeah, I was Garen, and I'm also running a Free Enterprise race on the Free Enterprise channel tomorrow night. Join us for that if you enjoyed this. And one final shout out again to the event taking place on RPG Limit Break tomorrow at noon Eastern. Once again, that is the... I want to get this right, so let me go back to my chat and make sure.
The Good Luck or Blame Ever Hate Memorial Race.
Yes, definitely come and join for that, and hopefully be all there. Again, have a good night. Thanks.
Take care.